Who do you like best at value?
Yeah, I mean, you can load up on Devin Vassell, who's a Spur, who I mentioned earlier. You can load up on a former Spur, Patty Mills, who's at 4,900 against the Lakers. He's the de facto number 2 option this week with no Durant and no Kyrie Irving. I actually kind of like Richaun Holmes. I don't love the matchup against the Boston team that has several big men to throw at him, but the price, I mean, 4,600 for Richaun Holmes. And I know he's still kind of not returned to being himself since the injury and since the COVID absence, but 4,600 for a guy with that kind of upside to me is a pretty good deal. And then if you want to go super cheap, for some reason I like Nemanja Bjelica. I can't really explain it. He's at 3,300 tonight. Started to kind of eat into Jonathan Kuminga's minutes these last few games with Draymond Green out. Not going to be a guy who carries you to victory necessarily, but if you need to plug someone in for 3,300, Bjelica is my guy.
How about you, Garion?
Yeah, I think one game we haven't talked about yet that could turn out to be fruitful, we have to wait for an injury report, is the Pelicans. I mean, if Brandon Ingram is going to miss his second consecutive game, and I mean, I'm not in the know by any means, but I would think that someone with Ingram's track record for injury, second night of a back-to-back, he missed the first game. I'm going to lean that he's probably not playing tonight. I'm sure he'll end up being listed as questionable, and we'll have to sweat it a little bit. But if Ingram doesn't play, we saw the Pelicans run a pretty tight rotation on Monday against the Pacers. And that kind of opens up the potential to use 2 different guys. I prefer Alexander Walker. I think he just has a higher upside than most of the Pelicans' sort of secondary, tertiary wing players. He just loves to shoot it. He is a high volume shooter. He's someone who went off for over 30 DraftKings points, played 34 minutes off the bench in that win over the Pacers. But you could also stick Garrett Temple into a lineup at 3,300. Maybe more of a cash game play than he's a GPP play. But I think both those guys are viable. I would lean towards Alexander Walker at 3.7 because, again, I just think he has that higher ceiling. But both guys are very viable if Brandon Ingram does end up not playing in this game.